I just wanted to answer some of the things that were brought up, just basically reply to them. First of all, it has never been stated that there is a cure for cancer. Unfortunately, we all know there is no cure for cancer. What it is used for, it has been used for a long time, is to help people gain an appetite when they're going through chemotherapy, which can extend their life and add comfort when they're going through a very trying time. Nobody's ever said there was a cure for cancer. We know, unfortunately, we've all been touched by cancer in here, and there is no cure for it. It's a treatment for people when they're going through chemotherapy, as well as some other treatments. There are treatments that are used in cancer. Also, it's stated that at a Schedule 4 non-narcotic is for something with a low potential for abuse relative to substances in Schedule 3. That's why it would go in Schedule 4. I just remind the body that Xanax is a Schedule 4 non-narcotic. Xanax is one of the deadliest drugs that is overprescribed in this state. If you check the toxicology reports through accidental overdose deaths, you'll find Xanax quite prevalent in the toxicology reports. And there's never been a fatal overdose from cannabis. Also, I believe the gentleman from the 32nd was referring to the Rocky Mountain High Intensity Drug Trafficking Report, which I was also there for. It was a joint committee on the judiciary when that report was brought to this body here in West Virginia, and so I looked it up after hearing that report, and that report has been debunked by at least 5 publications, one of which being Forbes magazine. One of the problems with that report is it uses a very small sample size, and then misstated some of their findings, like, for example, the higher rates of traffic fatalities. Well, actually, states that have some form of decriminalized cannabis have dropped, their traffic fatalities have dropped. And that's according to the American Journal for Public Health. It's a peer-reviewed study right here. I don't know why, but states that have some form of decriminalized cannabis have lower traffic fatality rates. Don't ask me why, but that's stated from the American Journal for Public Health. Also in the American Journal for Public Health is where I found that opioid usage rates drop in states that have some form of decriminalized medical cannabis. In fact, it was stated earlier, 25% less fatal overdoses in these states. 25% less. That's a big number. And I don't want to be too anecdotal. I said I wasn't going to take up much time, but it's one story I want to relate quickly. In all the emails and phone calls that I've gotten since I first introduced a bill similar to this during the special session last year, one that really stands out was from a gentleman who I can't say his name, but he served this country in the United States Navy. He was stationed on the USS Cole. Was attacked by Al-Qaeda. He was on the ship when it was attacked. He was close enough to sustain many bodily injuries, as well as, I'm sure, mental injuries as well. When he came home through the VA, he was prescribed a laundry list of medications, and he got addicted to some of these medications, and he weaned himself off of it and now treats himself with medical cannabis. And this guy's a hero. Okay? If any of these bills ever made it onto a committee agenda, I would bring him up here to speak to that committee. Hasn't made it on an agenda yet. If we were able to discuss it in a committee, this guy would be glad to come up and speak to you. But what this amendment would do would protect him. If he happened to be caught with this on his person, something that he was being used, a hero was using to treat his own ailments, something he used to get off of this laundry list that he was addicted to upon his return from his service to this country, if he was caught with it, this would simply protect him by lowering the scheduling. Schedule 4, non-narcotic. It would protect this hero.